Yes! 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 What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince, here to give you another What If series. I believe this is the first one I do in a while. I can't really remember the last one I did. Maybe it was, What If, I can't remember the last What If I did. I really don't remember. Maybe it was something. It was either the Oscar one. I know Triple H on SmackDown was the first one, but Oscar winning at Mania 34 was one. I'm pretty sure I did another one. I can't remember. But anyways, what is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince, here to give you a what if Daniel Bryan never retired in 2016. 2016 was a very rough year for Daniel Bryan. It's the same year he became. He left the company. He had to leave, unfortunately, because he just couldn't take it anymore. He just wasn't medically cleared. But what if he actually was medically cleared? I decided to do a long timeline from 2016 to now and where he would be. So first of all, no WrestleMania 32 match for Daniel Bryan. I think the way WrestleMania was built, they should have just kept that, left that alone. They should have just I think we could use a break from Daniel Bryan, not at WrestleMania. That way, when he does show up to WrestleMania, it's like, oh my goodness, he's back. He's officially back at WrestleMania. Something to that extent. So, the Raw after WrestleMania, we have Roman Reigns, talking about his match with Triple H. He's like, I'm not a good guy, not a bad guy, I'm the guy. Then we do AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn in a number one contenders match for the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan is the one that replaces Sami Zayn after after Sami Zayn gets his ass kicked backstage. So it's AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Daniel Bryan, not Cesaro. Even though I like Cesaro, he probably could have been in doing something else. But I would have Daniel Bryan. It will be a big markout moment for the Raw after WrestleMania. He doesn't win. AJ Styles still wins. But Daniel Bryan is saying the next week, he talks about what he's set to do next. And then the League of Nations come out saying that basically Sheamus is the one responsible for his injury, so he is happy about it, but he's an asshole. And then the Wyatts come and attack the League of Nations once again, and then Shane McMahon comes out and says, you know what, we're gonna have a match. It's gonna be Sheamus and Rusev. Oh no, Sheamus and Alberto Rio. Rusev will move on to the US Championship. So Sheamus and Alberto Rio versus Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt. Daniel Bryan gets the victory for them, gets his revenge on Sheamus finally, and then at the end of the match, Bray Wyatt attacks Daniel Bryan, leading up to a feud at Payback, where Daniel Bryan wins at Payback. He gets his big victory. He gets a quick roll up because he knows he can't beat Bray Wyatt. He's like a really tough guy to beat. But then Bray Wyatt wants revenge. He wants to beat the crap out of him even more. He just wants to end Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt have Extreme Rules. At Extreme Rules 2016, they have a strap match. Basically, the story is like Bray Wyatt or Daniel Bryan can escape me. Once a Wyatt, always a Wyatt. Kind of like a cool little story to have, just to have Daniel Bryan do something. Bray Wyatt gets the victory, and then Daniel Bryan kind of walks up upset. But then the next night on Raw, they have Money in the Bank qualifying matches, which means Daniel Bryan enters the Money in the Bank match, replacing Alberto Rio. Around this time, he gets released anyways. So, but Daniel Bryan still managed to fail winning the Money in the Bank contract. Everything looks like it's going downhill for Daniel Bryan until the draft. The draft happens, and Daniel Bryan moves to SmackDown. I think it made sense for Daniel Bryan to move to SmackDown, the land of opportunity. Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon are their own general managers, their own authority figures. No need to bring Mick Foley, and no need to bring some other anonymous GM, whatever the hell. Whatever, because Daniel Bryan is on SmackDown. He's officially part of the roster. He's on Talking Smack, and then keep in mind, Daniel Bryan, he was a part of the six-pack challenge to face Dean Ambrose, the WWE champion. at SummerSlam, which obviously Dolph Ziggler wins it. But then Daniel Bryan is upset he didn't win, but he's like, you know what? Maybe I'm too early for the WWE Championship. He's on Talking Smack saying this, like, yeah, maybe it's too early for me to be on fighting for the WWE Championship. Maybe I have to go back to another belt I haven't won, and that, of course, is the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, that was the last belt I held before I almost retired. And right now I'm not happy with who's holding it. Obviously, that's The Miz. So then The Miz and Daniel Bryan have a match at SummerSlam. It's a quick match. It's kind of a letdown match, but that's good because The Miz is just cheating to win, and The Miz retains his Intercontinental Championship against Daniel Bryan. Then the next night on Talking Smack, we have Shane McMahon and Renee Young interview The Miz, talking about how he wrestles like a coward. Basically, the Talking Smack segment that made The Miz as popular as he is, but instead of Miz arguing with Daniel Bryan, he's arguing with Shane McMahon, the authority figure in this showcase. Daniel Bryan gets another chance at Backlash. This is Daniel Bryan's last chance to win the IC belt, but he fails once again thanks to the help of Maurice. And then Daniel Bryan's just like super mad that 2016 is not going his way. He's just super frustrated. He thought coming back was going to be great. So at No Mercy, he decided to put it all on the line. It's going to be The Miz and Daniel Bryan at No Mercy for the Intercontinental Championship title versus Daniel Bryan's career. That basically it's Miz and Dolph Ziggler, but this time instead of Miz and Dolph Ziggler, it's Miz and Daniel Bryan. This is the main event because this is probably the most hyped match, and you didn't know who was gonna win. You believably don't know who would win because Daniel Bryan is injury prone. Also, Daniel Bryan is like not trusted enough to be at the top once again. So Daniel Bryan and The Miz fighting at No Mercy for the IC belt title versus career. Let's go! And of course, Daniel Bryan wins once again. So now Daniel Bryan is your Intercontinental Champion. He is happy to hold that belt. He is just ready. And he is willing to put it up against, since this is the land of opportunity, he wants to put the belt against all of those great ones. So sure enough, he basically does John Cena open challenges, but for the IC belt. So his first opponent is Kurt Hawkins, not a great start, but little by little we get other better opponents. We get Dolph Ziggler, we get Apollo Crews, we even get Baron Corbin. We have Baron Corbin win by disqualification. That way we still make Baron Corbin look strong because around this time Baron Corbin was awesome, not the way he is now. But then SmackDown 900 happens where The Miz invokes his rematch. He said, I will put my rematch finally once and for all and end this pathetic open challenge. This belt was held by greats, and Daniel Bryan is just giving it to people who don't deserve it. And sure enough, SmackDown 900. Now, before I continue, Daniel Bryan issued an open challenge to anybody from Raw, which Sami Zayn gets the shot, like in real life. So people are hyped. It's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. Like it would happen in real life. Miz steals the belt off Daniel Bryan. He wins the belt once again. This infuriates people because people wanted to see Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn. Instead, we're getting The Miz and Sami Zayn. But The Miz gets a victory at Survivor Series once again. And then we finally culminate this feud, The Miz and Daniel Bryan, one last time. TLC ladder match. The last time these guys fight. And, of course, The Miz wins. So, basically, I'm making Daniel Bryan's story so far the Dolph Ziggler one, but it changes in 2017. Alright, so the first episode of 2017, it's going to be a Beat the Clock challenge. Once again, the land of opportunity. It requires lots of people to get chances. AJ Styles has been a dominant champion so far. So, the first SmackDown of 2017, it's going to be Beat the Clock challenge, but Daniel Bryan's opponent is Baron Corbin, a guy who Baron Corbin beat by, remember, Daniel Bryan lost to Baron Corbin by DQ, thanks to The Miz doing his shenanigans. So now this time it's gonna be Daniel Bryan and Baron Corbin, the main event. They have like 6 minutes to try to beat one another, and sure enough, Daniel Bryan gets the odds, and Daniel Bryan is the first person to beat Baron Corbin. At this point, Baron Corbin is already like this beatable, unstoppable beast, but Daniel Bryan was the one who overcame the odds. So now at Royal Rumble, it's going to be AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship, one of the biggest matches everybody's wanted. And you know, AJ Styles is a great heel, so he could be some dick like, yeah, while you were out down at home with Brie Bella, hoping to have a child, hoping that you could come back to the ring, I came to Royal Rumble and I made my debut, and I now became the biggest face of this company, bigger than you. And Daniel Bryan's like not having it. He's like, yeah, guess what? Yeah, you might have had the company up for a year, but while I was injured, that was gonna be me. I was gonna be up there with the guys like Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, but no. Unfortunately, I had an injury that took me out of the company. But basically, we do AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. This is the basic feud, and AJ Styles wins. Once again, AJ Styles retains the WWE Championship, and then Brock Lesnar wins the Royal Rumble, setting up Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. AJ Styles is still a dominant champion. So there's that. And then somewhere along the lines, Daniel Bryan wants to or around this time, Dean Ambrose gets the Intercontinental Championship from The Miz. He has a couple of good matches here and there, Dean Ambrose. He probably has his feud with Baron Corbin at Elimination Chamber. And then, so the Elimination Chamber is going to be consisted of John Cena, AJ Styles, or Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, and The Miz. And then Daniel Bryan is so the final entrance is Bray Wyatt. Daniel Bryan is waiting for Bray Wyatt, wanting his revenge, but then The Miz comes from the back, does a roll up, and Daniel Bryan is eliminated. And he says, "Wow, I guess I'm not going to WrestleMania once again." But then that's when Dean Ambrose comes out. He's like, "You know what? I need the best match possible at WrestleMania. Last year I lost to Brock Lesnar. I hated that match, so I'm gonna do the best. I'm issuing a challenge to Daniel Bryan to have one legit run with the IC belt." Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose are set for WrestleMania, but we start to slowly see like them being friends, but then they kind of like start hating each other. They are Daniel Bryan's easily getting the spotlight. He's getting his comeback match. Dean Ambrose is starting to get jealous, so much so that he turns heel, and he goes at WrestleMania 33. It's heel Dean Ambrose versus the returning Daniel Bryan to WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan's first match at WrestleMania since 31. He missed last year, obviously. So, anyways, Dean Ambrose cheats his way to still be your Intercontinental Champion, making Dean Ambrose an official heel, and Daniel Bryan does not get his big moment once again. And on to the WWE Superstar Shakeup, or the draft, whatever you want to call it. Now, just so we're clear, this is what the WrestleMania 33 card looked like. We had Miz and Shane finally have their match. We had Owens and Jericho, like in real life. The Fatal 4 for the Women's Championship. The Hardy Boys returning. Dean Ambrose and Bryan. Seth Rollins and Triple H. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt without the belt. Brock and Goldberg, AJ Styles and John Cena at WrestleMania, where AJ Styles successfully won the belt, retained his belt, the six-pack challenge, and of course Roman retiring The Undertaker. And for reals, retiring The Undertaker. So anyways, on to Backlash, and the Intercontinental Championship is gone to Raw, but the United States Championship, however, is coming to SmackDown. who's the U.S. champion? Kevin Owens, like I mentioned. And Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens have a big match at Backlash, probably the most hyped match. AJ Styles can probably feud with somebody else. I can't really remember who was like around this time. Maybe I could do Rusev and AJ Styles for a little bit, and then eventually we'll work our way towards like something big for Styles. Maybe actually we could do AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler, because Dolph Ziggler was around this time a great heel. He's saying like how he was like screwed over. So yeah, AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler is the feud for now, and then we do Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens for the U.S. belt. Daniel Bryan wins at Backlash by disqualification, like how AJ Styles won at Backlash 2017, like in real life, but by DQ. Then we do Money in a Bank. It's Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Baron Corbin. AJ Styles faces Rusev at Money in a Bank. And then keep in mind, AJ Styles is still your WWE champion. Just keep that in mind. But anyways, we tease Shinsuke Nakamura versus Daniel Bryan at Money in a Bank. But obviously Baron Corbin wins like he does in real life. And then we do at Madison Square Garden, 4th of July, Daniel Bryan beats Kevin Owens in a house show and is now your new United States champion. Oh boy, so then at Battleground we have the rematch, Daniel Bryan, the new US champion versus Kevin Owens. Now, because we didn't get to see the real match where Daniel Bryan got his win at MSG, Kevin Owens says like, yeah, you guys didn't see the match. Look at what happens. He gets a little clip of the match and the referee does a fast count. He feels like he did a fast count, but then that's when Shane McMahon says, Kevin Owens, you've been talking a lot of smack and you've been like harassing my referees back and forth. They even gave you that screwy finish at Backlash. So this is what I'm gonna do: Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens, Battleground. But I'm gonna be the referee. So Battleground is Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens for the U.S. Championship with special guest referee, Shane McMahon. AJ Styles is still doing the whole land of opportunities, so at Backlash he faces Dolph Ziggler, at Money in the Bank he faces Rusev, and at Battleground he faces Sami Zayn in the main event. And then AJ Styles ends up feuding with Randy Orton at coming SummerSlam and then Hell in a Cell, inside the Hell in a Cell, obviously. But where does this leave Daniel Bryan? Well, at SummerSlam, he's going to need a new opponent. Kevin Owens is busy with Shane McMahon. John Cena is busy with Baron Corbin. Daniel Bryan needs a legit opponent. Who can it be? Well, that, my friends, will be the king of strong style, Shinsuke Nakamura. SummerSlam 2017, we're doing Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. I think it was way too soon to put Shinsuke Nakamura trying to be the WWE champion. Yeah, it was way too soon. I wouldn't have done that. But yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura could use a mid-card belt before he's pushed to the top of the moon. So we do Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke Nakamura, SummerSlam. This steals the show, and Shinsuke Nakamura wins. And then at the end of the match, Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura shake hands. So, after SummerSlam, here is some stuff that you need to know. Sami Zayn and Shane McMahon form a tag team. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens form a tag team, my bad. They're both heels now. AJ Styles is still your WWE champion, feuding with Randy Orton at the time so far. And Shinsuke Nakamura is your US champion. We're still doing the Usos New Day thing. And then the whole... I forgot what the women were doing around this time, but it was pretty lame. But anyways, Daniel Bryan kind of has nowhere to go, but he's like, you know what's the great thing about losing a belt? Is chasing after it. So Shinsuke Nakamura, I'm challenging you again. That was one of the best matches I've ever had, and I'm willing to have another classic with you, but only this time I'm gonna win. Instead, Baron Corbin comes out. He's pissed off that freaking that John Cena screwed him over from his Money in a Bank cash in. Like in real life, he's mad. Daniel Bryan is like, okay, chill out. And then we do Baron Corbin beating Daniel Bryan in a one-on-one match on SmackDown. Little by little, Shinsuke Nakamura wants competition, so we do at Hell in a Cell. We do Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin, and Daniel Bryan in a triple threat match. Baron Corbin wins, and then we do Baron Corbin versus Shinsuke Nakamura as a feud. Um, then we do the whole uh, Survivor Series. Shane McMahon is not cleared to compete after his brutal beatdown against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. However, he puts Daniel Bryan in charge. He has a lot of trust in him to be a good leader. And Daniel Bryan says that, yeah, listen, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did some crappy things, but they're great talents, and that's why they're going to be a part of Team Raw. So, or Team SmackDown. So, Team Raw will be Kurt Angle, Triple H, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe. And then Team SmackDown will be Daniel Bryan, the leader, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, and John Cena. That sounds like a fucking massive, incredible match to have. And it ends with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are the first two eliminated from Team SmackDown by Braun Strowman. Don't worry, they do get some comeuppance. They do eliminate. We tease Joe and Cena, so that was set up for Joe and Cena at WrestleMania. Braun Strowman eliminates John Cena. Keep in mind, Braun Strowman is killing everybody. He's just eliminating every single person. He eliminates everybody except for Daniel Bryan. The final two are Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan teaming up against Braun Strowman, Kurt Angle, and Triple H. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come back to screw over Daniel Bryan. He gets eliminated by Triple H, and then Randy Orton or Triple H lets Randy Orton eliminate Kurt Angle, and then at the end, Triple H screws over Randy Orton, and he gets the victory for Team Raw. And the rest is history with Braun Strowman attacking Triple H at the end of the show. But Team Raw lost, unfortunately, and it was no thanks to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They're pretty much the most hated people. Daniel Bryan or Shane McMahon comes out. He's furious at Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. He's about to fire them. However, Daniel Bryan said, no, we're not doing it this way. What we're gonna do is have a final match. It's going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon at Clash of Champions. Losers leave SmackDown. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon get the victory from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. However, Triple H convinces Stephanie to move to Raw, even though they beat the crap out of Vince McMahon as well. But so that happens, and then they are basically joining the tag team division. So there's that. Anyways, Shane McMahon is so happy that he got rid of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn once and for good. So much so that at the 2018 Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan is gonna enter the Royal Rumble at number 27, the luckiest number there could be. And sure enough, Daniel Bryan wins. Alright, so Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble. He challenges AJ Styles, who has been an undefeated champion. He even beat CM Punk's record. So from Backlash 2016 to WrestleMania 34, AJ Styles has been holding the WWE Championship for 574 days. Daniel Bryan is excited to be saying that, like, we meet again, AJ Styles. You at one point called me out, but I've respected the different kind of AJ Styles you are. And then we do a feud of, like, you know, them being friends and then them, like, not liking each other. But anyways, WrestleMania 34 hits. Daniel Bryan hits a low blow when the referee's not looking. Hits the flying knees. And Daniel Bryan destroys AJ Styles' record. And now he is the new WWE Champion. Daniel Bryan is your new WWE champion, and he's a heel now. He talks about how the fans are fickle, how they've always wanted Daniel Bryan in the undercard. They're mad at him for getting an advantage at the Royal Rumble. They're mad that he's such a suck up to the McMahons, in, and they're just mad. And AJ Styles is talking about how he's a sellout and this and that. So now the roles are reversed. Um, and we continue the feud of Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. And at Backlash, we do Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, and AJ Styles loses thanks to the Bludgeon Brothers, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. They finally debut. Um, instead of instead of Bludgeon Brothers versus Usos versus New Day, we do New Day versus Usos in a TLC match at WrestleMania 34, and then we bring the Bludgeon Brothers to destroy the New Day, get the belts off of them. So now Daniel Bryan and the Bludgeon Brothers are all holding the gold. And sure enough, at Money in the Bank, we do a last man standing match for the WWE Championship, and we do something similar where like Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows fight Luke Harper and Eric Rowan to even out the odds. But at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan is still the WWE Champion. We're moving on to SummerSlam. So at Extreme Rules, Daniel Bryan beats Rusev in a submission match. Doesn't really matter. But the biggest thing that comes out is that we finally need a new opponent for Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles fight for the United States Championship in the mid card, bringing more prestige to that belt. And Daniel Bryan would need a new opponent. So who would I give him? I would give him Jeff Hardy. He has like the most interesting story. We could do kind of like Punk and Hardy in the summer in 2009. It would be ironic because it would be 10 years later. Or 8 years later, I believe. Or 9 years later, whatever the fuck. Anyways, Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy feud at SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy for the WWE Championship. Jeff Hardy is about to win, but then the Bludgeon Brothers beat up Jeff Hardy. So Jeff Hardy wins at SummerSlam by disqualification. Daniel Bryan is furious at Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. He like gets mad at them, so much so that he even makes them defend the belts against every tag team the following night on SmackDown, where the Usos get their victory once again, and they feud with the Bar or something. But Daniel Bryan wants to win fair and square. So at Hell in a Cell, it will be Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy inside a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. So Daniel Bryan can finally say he could beat Jeff Hardy clean, and sure enough, Daniel Bryan beats Jeff Hardy clean. Okay, so Survivor Series, we keep it the same where everybody beats, or everybody from Raw wins, and then Daniel Bryan's like, SmackDown has been killing it. The women's division has been bigger than ever. The tag team division is back as everything. SmackDown is the real A show, and even though we all lost, we are still here to make opportunities. So at TLC, I will defend my WWE Championship against someone who I have never faced in my entire career. And we're wondering who the hell is it going to be. So at TLC, we keep hyping up who is it going to be. And it is the debuting Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali faces Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is surprised. We don't wait until TLC. I kind of give the idea that Mustafa Ali is not is going to be announced at TLC. Instead, we do it at the like a SmackDown. We wait the whole night trying to see who he's going to face, and sure enough, it's Mustafa Ali. They show some video packages of who he is. People are excited for Mustafa Ali, and Daniel Bryan is mad because he's just a new guy. You guys will get over him pretty soon, just like you guys did with me. So anyways, we do TLC, Daniel Bryan versus Mustafa Ali for the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan wins, obviously. We have a rematch at the Royal Rumble, and Daniel Bryan wins once again. Around this time, Luke Harper is injured, so now he only has Eric Rowan at his hands. And Eric Rowan is definitely a tough guy. He's had a pretty good singles run, having some good singles matches with, beating some top guys, basically showing that Eric Rowan could do stuff on his own and eventually become a top level star. However, this top level star is impossible to beat. That is why at WrestleMania, he's going to need an opponent that will have some backup with him, and that is Kofi Kingston. Big E and Xavier Woods will help him with Eric Rowan. And Kofi Kingston gets his big moment at Kofi Mania, and the rest is history. I'm gonna stop the video right here because I feel like after this, everything it would pretty much be the same for Daniel Bryan. This is just showing what his life would be if he never got injured. After this, everything would be the same with him, going for the tag team belts, turning on Roman or teaming up with Roman Reigns to beat the Bludgeon Brothers, him having his big success story, bringing back the Yes Movement. The rest is history. And then if for shits and giggles, we'll do the whole American Dragons, New Day, Miz and Morrison thing, because that's my universe. Anyways, it's me, the ALE Double X Prince. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until then, I'm out.